Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory be to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ruach HaKodesh. And I want to say double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and blessings to the hopeful elect out there listening and learning and teaching this word in sincerity and truth, in the sincere hopes that we may edify and feed the lambs of Yahweh Shai, especially in these last days. And I said to myself, like, it's been a while since I've done it in transit on the road. So I said, well, let me go ahead and just, put the camera on and speak about current events, because, there's a lot of things that's going on, and I'm sure, if you're circumspect enough, that you'll be able to pick up the signs of the times, and that we are definitely at the end. All right, you're definitely seeing, a situation brewing worldwide, globally, especially in these major cities, starting with Babylon, of course, America, where you're seeing America being divided, and the division is at an all-time high. We're seeing the draconian measures being put forward from, the king of Babylon, which is Donald Trump at the moment, and you got the, the elite, that are pretty much behind the scenes orchestrating pure chaos in order to bring forth, their NWO. All right, we've been telling you that they want a global digital currency, and that's going to be administered by or via the mark of the beast, which is the chip. Let me just put that on silent for a minute. Which is the chip, which is the mark of the beast, and that's going to be pushed, and it's going to be made, damn near difficult for you to be able to, or impossible for you to be able to navigate through these cities without it. We've been telling you about the time of living off the grid is coming. Alright, you got brothers out there with families, serious situations, man. Brothers, we're all in a serious situation. You got brothers out there with dependencies, brothers with vulnerabilities, newborn babies, children. Hey, but that's alright, because the Lord said, that the woman shall be saved in childbearing. You might have a woman, hey, even if you don't believe, like the scripture speak about the unbelieving wife saved by the husband that does believe. You know what I'm saying? So, and ultimately, man, they're gonna become believers when they see what all hell breaks. When all hell breaks loose, they're gonna see what's gonna happen. They're just gonna fall right in line, because ultimately, the scripture does say that 7 women shall take hold of one man. These women are gonna know where the power is at. Women are hypergamous, man. They like to date men of power, and it's definitely gonna be demonstrated who have the power, or who has the power in these last days. Especially when the Lord, starts divinely intervening with these miracles and demonstrating, right, his power through his men that sincerely believe. The scripture says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, that the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So Esau's gonna come in with his troops, and you see, with all this immigrant or ICE and that and whatever, you got it to the point now where you got normal American civilians getting ICE uniforms, ordering it off Amazon and that, or rumor would have it that that's what's being done at the moment, and they're posing as real ICE agents, and they're just straight up grabbing up you tribes. You got alligator Alcatraz, as it's being dubbed, where they're gonna pretty much maintain a detention center that's gonna cost them $450 million per year to maintain. And they're gonna be putting in you tribes, man. Right? They're gonna throw you headfirst into the detention centers. And these are some very, very serious times, some very, very cold times. That the scripture says, because iniquity shall abound, that the love of many shall wax cold. And we're definitely coming to the time of the coldest time that you ever seen. In terms of emotionally, like, ain't no one gonna spare no fucks, ain't gonna give no fucks to what's going on, especially them troops, especially when they roll out in them numbers, and they've been given you see how Esau's troops are going on now, but you just wait until they're given the green light to pretty much shoot on sight. No fucking rubber bullets, straight up live rounds, and bodies are gonna be hitting the floor like that song, let the bodies hit the floor. That's what did he say? Can't take much more. that it says, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor. You know, but that's what's gonna be going in. You know, Salaki for the but I kind of like that song anyway. But that's besides the point. But the scripture says that the dead shall be cast out as dung. So bodies are gonna be hitting the floor, like, and that's reality, and that's about to become a very real reality. It's biblical prophecy, man. You know, and in these times, you know, where we're really supposed to be clinging now more so than ever to the wisdom and the knowledge. You know, because the scriptures tell us that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength for salvation, right? Isaiah 33:6, one of my favorite scriptures that I ever heard, you know, coming into the truth. And you know, a lot of these people, even as you see running across the road, lining up, trying to get a bus, going from one place to the next, they don't really understand. They're still going to festivals, they're still going to parties, you know, they're still partying and bullshitting. And Jake is going to be doing that, right, until the fire comes, till the missile comes, till the earth starts shaking from the impact of the missiles. And that's the time that we're coming, that's the time that we're hastening towards, by the way. A time like no other since there was a nation. And it's going to be so heavy that, you know, the angels are going to reveal themselves live and direct. And they're going to be following Yahweh Shai, all right, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, up on white horses, like UFOs, man. Powerful, souped up, you know, so-called UFOs. All right, that's what's going to be fucking happening out here. And these people, they don't seem to consider that that's the time that we're coming to. All right, but regardless, whether they consider it or not, that's the time that it's going to be. It's going to be live and direct. There's going to be no way to escape, right, the dangers that are ahead if you're not of the elect. See, because the elect, you know, the scriptures speak about in Psalms, the 91st chapter, about how those that dwell in a secret place of the Most High, that they shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, right? And that's going to be a very safe place. You know, this wisdom and knowledge is a secret place of the Most High. What does the scripture say in Amos 3:7? Surely the Lord will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Okay, so the servants, the prophets of the Lord, right, are gonna be sheltered when that time comes. And Psalms 91 goes into, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of my Lord Yahweh, he is my refuge, my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. So we're going to be leaning on, you know, pretty much, you know, leaning on the fortress of the Lord, which is in this word, the true understanding. You know, and I know that people don't seem to value it now, you know, the masses of the people, which the word mass means death. And, you know, you got the wicked of our people, they are dead from the neck up. You know, they're walking dead. The scripture says the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, you know, they shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So they're literally the walking dead. You know, you know, there's nothing that we can do to wake up those that are asleep, you know, if the Lord don't want them to be woken up. And that's why we're only out here for the elect. We constantly say that over and over again, right? We're only out here for the sincere believers, man, because ultimately, what did the Apostle Paul said? What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. All right? So the election are going to obtain this truth, but the rest, right, are blinded. Blinded by who? The Most High. The Lord don't want them to get it. And that's why it's a very, you know, important blessing that we have, you know, the gift of faith mixed with the word that's going to profit us in these last days, as the scripture outlines in Hebrews 4:2, right? Unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. And faith is a gift, right? So let's not squander the gift of faith. Let's earnestly contend for the faith as the scripture outlines, as the scripture advises us. The scripture speak about giving diligence to make your calling and election sure. The Lord said if we do these things, we shall never fall, man. Right? Because this is a fight, all right? And you definitely see how hard we're gonna have to fight. As we see the time of the end approaching. You know, people are gonna become more cutthroat. People are gonna become more like brute beasts, you know, more desperate, lack of availability of food, you know, access to water, drinking water for their families, vulnerabilities that they have under their households. People are feeling the pinch. Cost of living is shooting up, you know, housing crisis. You know, people are on edge. You know, food banks are fucking, their lines are wrapped around corners. And you saw that during the time of the pandemic, man. You saw, you know, a lot of middle class, so-called middle class households. You had a lot of Edomites queuing up in food banks. I remember that. You know, we can't forget about these things, man. All right, and they had you people in lockdown, telling you that you can't leave your house. So, you know, it wasn't that long ago that these draconian measures were put in place. But now you're seeing even more draconian measures put in place. Now, could you imagine if they launch a pandemic now at a time, right? At this time, now where Donald Trump is back in power. Because this is Donald Trump 2.0. He's going in. You know, we done told you about the sword that's being sharpened. And what's Esau's blessing? Esau's blessing is the sword. We're supposed to prophesy, right, about the sword being sharpened. Ezekiel 21:9, Son of man, prophesy unto the Lord, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened. We're supposed to tell you that the sword of the Lord on the left-hand side, that's Esau, and he's about to start swinging it and cutting you jakes down, man. All right? You see the immigrants so-called crisis that they're spinning to pretty much push their draconian measures. Right, now you got it, and I don't know how true this is as well, but you got Jake, you know, straight up hanging from trees. I think you had 5 or 4 Israelites, you know, swinging from trees, right, on the soils of Babylon the Great within 1 week, man. All right, and they ain't even, why you there worrying about whether Diddy's guilty or not? This is what's going on out here. You got Israelites getting grabbed up and pretty much getting tossed out of cargo planes, man. Talking about how they're getting grabbed up by ICE, getting detained, and then they're just getting disappeared. And rumor has it that they're being thrown into shark waters. You know what I'm saying? So people are just disappearing, and now you got this alligator Alcatraz. I mean, why are the wicked coming so bold? One has to ask, why is the wicked coming so bold with their statements of what they're doing, what they're planning to do? Through all the chaos and all the, you know, the confusion, they now have enabled, right, the government to push draconian measures, the likes of which we've not seen in a long time. All right, when I say a long time, I'm talking in response to, you know, I'm talking about cargo slavery. But this is like, you know, we're coming to a time now where it's going to be worse than cargo slavery, man. It's just going to be like, you know, pretty much they call you the Goyim. And when I say they, I'm talking about the, you know, the wicked elite, these so-called, these JOOs. They call you the Goyim, which means cattle. So they're pretty much waiting. They're salivating over slaughtering you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. And that's when you're going to see what Jake is going to start, you know, or Judah, you know, who shall rouse him up? Hey, Judah's going to start getting roused up. All right, which is going to become a problem, right, for these Edomites. And that's when they're going to come full-fledged with it as well. And Judah starts rising up, the other tribes going to fall in line. They're going to start rising up. And you're going to have that, 2nd Esdras 15 scenario play out, or prophecy play out. One people standing up to fight against another and swords in their hands, man. You're going to have factions being formed. Hostile factions, hostile groups coming together for their causes, right? Saying, look, we ain't standing for this no more. This is what we want. Like Civil War, the movie Civil War. I'm an American, don't shoot. What kind of American are you? You know? So it's going to get to that point. What kind of American are you? Or what kind of Brit are you, mate? Civil war, division in these cities, right? These cities are going to be literally fucking death zones, man, in these last days. Right now you got these, you know, proud-ass fucking women walking around. I ain't even call them women because the word woman means servant, right? And these women, you know, ain't trying to serve a damn thing but their own fucking selfish appetites, man. Right? Through feminism and all that shit that they've been intoxicated with or indoctrinated with, right? That's what all they're about. They're all about loving themselves. Okay? You see it all over social media. Women that don't want to cook for men. Women that don't want to, you know, a man comes home from a 13, 14-hour shift and there's dishes in the sink and she's just scrolling on social media with a fucking bonnet on in a bathrobe. I've seen things like that. And she's knocking the camera out of his hand because he's filming her, how much of a fucking slob she is. And it's mainly the so-called black woman, man. Right? I mean, you got so-called black women getting triggered, or that Pop the Balloon show, right? Because a man, you know, simply makes a statement that I prefer women with long hair. Don't talk about a woman's hair, because that's the woman's glory, man. All right? And the Lord took your woman's hair from you. That's why you're all nappy-headed, right? You can't grow that fucking hair that's on your headpiece, because the Lord, you know, pretty much smote you, man. That's a curse unto you women, because the glory of a woman is her hair, right? But the Lord said that he was creating a new thing on the earth, that a woman shall compass a man, right? Like there was one, you know, I think I see Myron Gaines. He was like, he does that Fresh and Fit show podcast with that fresh geezer. I can't remember his name. Walter something. Right? But Myron Gaines be out there on the street sitting down on his desk talking openly to the public as to why things have gotten so bad with women and that. And you had this one OnlyFans chick, right? She came up to Myron Gaines on the microphone talking about, well, you believe you traditional thinking or whatever she said. That's we're living in a new age. And as soon as she said that, I said, well, that's that Jeremiah 31:22. How long will that go about? Or that backsliding daughter? For the Lord have created a new thing in the earth, that a woman shall compass a man. A new thing, a new age, a new thing has been created in the earth, that a woman shall compass a man. The word compass means to go around a man's authority, which means to go around, right? But to compass a man, because a man is supposed to be an authority, right, over the woman. All right. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Myron Gaines, he said, like, I think the title of the video was "Women Should Be in the Kitchen." And that made me realize, because there was one time when we used to teach in Oxford Circus, there was this little pint-sized bitch. She came up to the camp popping her shit, right? And this is when I was kind of new in the truth, And then I said to him, the spirit hit me. I said, you should just be in the kitchen, man. I just lost it on her. And that was what that World War III done broke out. Oh, what you say? What you say? And I said, you know what, man? That's how you know. These women got demons on them. Because they don't really want to serve. They don't really want to serve a man, because they've been fucking living it up of this feminism. But all of that's coming to an end, and that's why we can't fuck. That's another reason why we can't wait, for the downfall, right, of this kingdom, because this kingdom upholds women, man. All right, and look at this. You see you got these women over there to the right with these little fucking hats, these stupid ass hats on. Look at that, man. Like they're queens and that. You see that, man? That's how you know this place is gonna get fucked up, man. Look at this place, man. Right? And that's the spirit. You got these women with these fucking little cone things on their heads and that, acting like their shit don't stink and that. What are they doing out here gallivanting, man? These women should be in the kitchen looking after their man, under their father's household, and then once they leave their father's household, they're supposed to be looking after their fucking husbands, man. But right now, we live in a time where you got women walking around all scantily clad, proud as hell, showing all kinds of flesh. Any excuse to strip. You got fucking Lily Phillips, girl, like Bonnie Blue. These women are riddled with cellulite. Their thighs are rotting out here, show you how much of a fucking whore that they are. Right, we're living in a time where this society that glorifies sluts and whoredom, man. This place has got to go. And if any of you fucking army of simp faggots think that this place ain't got to go, then, man, to hell with you as well, man. We say to hell with it. Let it, like Usher said, let it burn. Let it fucking burn, man. Let it fucking burn. And that's the message that we're coming with, right? And we're looking for, and we're hastening unto the coming of the day of the Lord, right? Wherein the elements shall melt with fervent heat. We're looking for that day. We're looking for that time. Okay? We are salivating over that time. We're looking for the turmoil and the chaos, the division, right? We're looking for all of that, right? That's what we're looking for the shit to just start clapping out here, right? Soldiers out here with them big ass guns, clapping big things, right? Bodies hitting the floor, all kinds of shit. That's what we're fucking waiting for, man. Right? Anyways, look. That's the time that we're coming to anyway. So, anyways, look, I'm heading my way to the camp. I'm heading my way to the camp, and we're gonna fucking, Lord willing, we're gonna, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we are at the end, and we're prophesying about the end. The scripture says, now is our salvation nearer than when we believed, man. We are look at the signs of the times. Look at the uproars of the people. Look at the earthquakes in diverse places. Oh, there's rumors of an earthquake triggering a tsunami over there in Japan. That's circling on mainstream media right now. So look, there's things going on, man. Draconian measures being put in place. All these things, all these disasters that are about to happen, calamities, families being separated, concentration camps, Guantanamo Bay, Alligator Alcatraz, all kinds of shit popping off out here. It's going down, right? It's going the fuck down. And this is what we've been telling you, man. Okay, Esau's got his drones, his AI, all kinds of databases. They're gonna be kicking off doors of those that are, rebellious to their state, like that movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith. They're gonna be hunting people down, grabbing you up, putting you into concentration camps. The scripture says the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you shall be tried. Right? So these things ain't, look, man, you might think that because you ain't got faith mixed with the word, it's not going to profit you. You don't believe in it, but we believe. We know that everything that the Lord said is going to happen is happening before our very eyes. And that emboldens our faith, man. That don't make us weaker. That makes us more emboldened. That's why the scripture says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness. Because the elect believe what's being written down in these scriptures. They believe these prophecies, man. Okay? So as we approach the end, all right, may we be emboldened more in righteousness. Right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to withstand the times that are coming, the evil days. The scripture says, redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. Okay? And this is what I'm saying. You saw that a bunch of them 3 chicks walking across the road with these fucking cone hats on. And that's pure folly, man. And the scripture says folly is set in great dignity. So these people, man, they're in for a rude awakening. That peace and safety spirit. Remember, when it shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, man. Okay? So anyways, man, look, with that, man, I pray that you were edified with this lesson. All right? I just wanted to throw something out there as I'm driving about, I want to teach the word, Lord willing, with the Arkim. We definitely at the end. So with that, man, I pray you were edified. Shalom to the elect.